New construction is one of the biggest lies in rental real estate, and I'm going to bring you the math to prove it. So not long ago, I posted a short where I was going through the rehab budget that I had put together on a new rehab project I've got that I'm going to turn into a rental. And they really just went crazy talking about how I should only do new construction. At first I got really irritated, and then I kind of got mad because I have a temper. And then I stopped and I really thought about it. And I thought, no, the whole point of me starting this channel was to educate as much as I can, because I don't know everything, educate as much as I can about the process of what I do, which is I buy residential real estate, pretty shabby stuff, and I rehab it and I put it out there to be rentals once I have done quality rehabs, right? And I'm not a flipper. I don't sell. I don't do lipstick on a pig rehabs. I do quality renovations. So there were quite a few comments that were posted on this short about new construction. And there were a lot of serious misconceptions that were posted. So I thought I would go through them, and I'll go through one by one, and I'm going to address them, and I'm going to post my personal opinion on why it's wrong. And then I also follow up. I've also got an interview that I did with a friend who is also a real estate agent. And so you don't have to just take my word for it. I'm also going to hopefully bring you this interview and some interviews with some other professionals. I know that most of the time y'all get just the DIY construction people that give you their opinion on rental real estate and rehabs. I'm not a DIYer. Well, I am, but my DIY is the numbers from the accounting standpoint. I hire people to do the rest of it. So I want to give you more than one viewpoint on how to do restorations and renovations for rehabs, okay? And a lot of the folks that I know, that I network with and that I'm involved with, we don't do the renovations ourselves, but we still do rehabs, okay? So let's go through this list, and I'm going to talk about these statements one by one, and I'm going to talk about why I completely disagree with these, okay? So the first one was, there is zero loss to new construction. There is no such thing as zero loss in real estate. New construction is typically bought at or near full retail value. So if somebody is offering a property at $250,000, it's probably going to appraise for $250,000. That means there's no wiggle room. You have to wait for the surrounding market to go up in value. There's no chance for you to force your own value. You can't capture equity in another way. That means when you walk in, you're automatically underwater a little bit because you've got closing costs and you've got anything that is wrapped up, your appraisals, your title, all the other costs associated with closing. All of those things have put you slightly underwater. So when you say there's no zero loss to new construction, respectfully, I have to disagree. If the market dips at all, you're further upside down immediately. I mean, you're upside down immediately anyway, even if it's only a couple $1,000s. But if the market dips, there you go. So when I buy, yes, I buy shabby houses, but I buy well below market. The most recent one I bought was $15,000 below appraised value. It was also below market value. So when I walked into it, I walked into instant equity, okay? So that's number one. Number two, new construction is guaranteed income. I hate to break it to you, but there is nothing guaranteed about rental income. Rent is set by the market, not whether the property is new. Markets shift, supplies change, rents move. Guaranteed is not how real estate works. I don't care if it's brand new construction, if it's shabby old Meemaw houses. I don't care if it's something I just rehabbed. I don't care if it's mobile homes or condos or townhouses or multifamily. There is no such thing. Not in my world, not in the new construction world, not in any world. Anybody that tries to tell you that they have a guaranteed path in real estate you need to turn around and run the other way. I don't care who it is, including me. As soon as you hear somebody say guaranteed, they're going to sell you the Brooklyn Bridge, okay? That's just false right there. There's no guarantee anywhere. No market, not ever. New construction has no maintenance. New construction does not eliminate maintenance. It can delay it. But here's the thing that I have noticed with new construction, and I have done this myself. If you go and look at the video that I just shot on the apartments that we're rehabbing, I just bought a construction pack of lights. Nothing wrong with that. These are decent lights. They'll last just fine, but it's what they call builder grade. These were very inexpensive. They cost about $15 a piece. And when you have new construction, that's often how the builder makes their money. And builders are, by the way, they're entitled to make money. Everybody is entitled to a profit, okay? But what you have is not top of the market unless you're buying in the luxury or custom market. When you have new construction, you often have the builder grade of materials, right? So often you do not have optimum quality. So that's something that you need to think about. And my favorite thing that I have recently discovered on YouTube are the inspectors, the new construction inspectors. I have such a good time. And so you don't have to take me, just my word for it. Go search them out. Hopefully I will be able to find my favorite. I searched for it today. I wanted to link it. But he really gets in the nitty gritty on these new construction projects for the new home purchases. And he goes and shows all kinds of insanity that these builders try to get away with. I mean, dryer vents that are not actually vented, GFCI outlets that are actually not hooked up to anything, crazy things that are done on roofs where there's not actually decking under the shingles. And this is all new construction, right? So this is where there's no maintenance. And these properties that he's doing the inspecting on, these people are buying nightmares and they don't know it. So there we go. Just take a look at some of this stuff, and you don't have to take my word for that either. All right. New construction can charge more rent. No, sorry about that. That's also determined by the market. What happens there is that if your basis is too high, if you have overpaid for the property, period, you only get to charge what the market says. Okay, it doesn't matter what the property is. The property rent is set by demand, period. It can be a fabulous property. It can have character. It can be in a great neighborhood, and it can be an older property, and you're going to get great rent. And it can be a brand new construction property in a crappy place, and you're just not going to get good rent because nobody wants it. So new construction has nothing to do with anything. I have properties that are in a wonderful neighborhood and a great school district, and I have not touched this property in years, and I get fabulous rent, and it's in high demand. It's kind of shabby. The current tenants are perfectly happy, so I'm not touching it. I'm not raising their rent. But when they move out, I'm going to do a complete rehab on this property because I can, and it means I can really raise the rent. That property was built in 1950. It's premium over there. That's just how it works. I also have newer properties that are in less of a prime neighborhood. I'm tapped out. I'm not putting money into those because no matter what I do to it, I can't raise the value and I can't raise the rent, okay? So it's not the construction time, how old it is. It's got so many other factors, and it's really got nothing to do with how old the building is, as long as it is in a certain level of maintenance, okay? All right, let's see. New construction is cheaper in bulk. Well, yeah, for the developers, not individual investors. If you're the investor that is building the subdivision, absolutely, you're right. I'm not. I do one quality flip at a time. Well, it's not a flip. I do one quality rehab at a time. I don't do new construction because it's not my ball game. So there we go. I also don't do builder grade on most things. Um, that's just, it's just where we are. New construction always appreciates. Um, Appreciation is not guaranteed anywhere. Go out and look at the tracts around Vegas that sat empty for 10 years. A lot of those properties actually deteriorated because there was no demand for them. There was nobody in them, and so the properties just kind of fell apart while they were waiting on somebody to come along and occupy them. There was also no maintenance. Some of them had no utilities. I know that some of the new suburbs out in the Southwest are so new that municipalities haven't even caught up to them. So there's no fire or police departments. There's no city services. I mean, it's kind of crazy what happens there. So appreciation is never guaranteed. Go back to '08 and '09. That's just the way it works. The markets determine appreciation, not construction age. So I would love to find anything with the guaranteed appreciation. I'd be all over that. But the model that I follow, appreciation is the icing on the cake. I don't buy for appreciation. I love it when it happens, and I will take advantage. But I buy for cash flow. That's just it. I'm a cash flow buyer. So that's that. Fixing properties is gambling. Gambling is based on chance. I use actually some very educated work to determine what's going to happen with my properties. So I use walkthroughs, I use inspections, I use contractor bids, I use scopes of work, I use underwriting. So that's actually analysis. It's not gambling. To some degree, there's always some risk, as there is in any market, but it's not gambling. I hate gambling, not my thing, I don't do it. Underwriting is just the nature of the game. There aren't millionaires doing fixer-uppers. There's a lot of long-term investors who do build wealth by buying underperforming assets, improving them, and holding on to them. Warren Buffett is one. I mean, he was famous for doing it. He built Berkshire Hathaway using that model. And there are plenty of millionaires, multimillionaires, who do build wealth by following that exact model. You're looking at one. Let's see. I would like to recommend anybody out there books like The Millionaire Next Door, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you really want to lay down a base education, fabulous place to start. Those are like fundamental in the wealth building community. And keep in mind, I am not a huge financial independence, retire early. That's not really my thing. I understand what they're doing. I do things a little bit differently. I have a different financial model, and eventually, if you stick with me, I'll share it all because it's a bit contrarian and it's a little bit radical. But I do highly recommend those books if you want to get your brain around a different way to approach money. So there we go. Comment 10, flipping is risky. Yes, flipping is risky. I agree. I don't flip. I buy and I renovate and I hold. So there's no flip. Landlords make money doing nothing. Yeah, it's not a nothing job. I manage risk. I manage tenants. I manage maintenance. I manage capital. I actively manage a lot. There is nothing passive about real estate if you are involved in it. I mean, I know people that want turnkey passive real estate. It's very rare that they are in the game and doing nothing unless they turn over quite a bit of the cash flow to somebody else. I have people ask me to do it for them, and if I were to do it for somebody else, which I turn them down, if I were to do it for somebody else, they would have to hand me a significant portion of the cash flow because of the amount of work that it takes. Every responsible landlord I know works hard because it is not a simple, passive, no involvement game. So landlords make money doing nothing. I beg to differ, sir, very strongly, or madam, sorry. Control is the missing piece. Well, with my model, I control the purchase price, the renovation, and the positioning. With new construction, you accept the price, product, and the margins that someone else has set. You walk into a new construction and somebody has already determined every piece of that deal. You just have to accept it or walk away. With me, I go out and I find the deal that works for me. I determine if I like it and I choose it or not, and I walk away or not. It's up to me. I control every element. So I like my model better. It's just that. And for a long time, over the past couple of years, I just didn't find what I liked. And so I sat and waited. I finally found one. So this is when I act. This is a big one, okay? Cost per square foot, new versus renovation. Now, this was not a comment that was left. This is something that I wanted to bring up. And this is important. And when you get to watch the interview with Andy, there's a critical point that we talk about there. And it's got to do with insurance. But this is the biggest missing piece in this new construction myth, okay? On my Highland property, the new one that I just got, I paid $60,000 for this property. Keep that in mind. And I'm going to spend anywhere between 60 and 80, depending on what I end up doing. I probably will lean more to the higher end, frankly, because at the end of the day, I want a nicer property that has less maintenance going forward. But the replacement cost on that insurance policy to build a new house from the ground up is $480,000. If I tried to rent that property, I'd be upside down. I couldn't do it. If I go to purchase a property at $480,000, just to begin to break even, I would have to charge $2,200 to $2,500 for a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. That's never going to happen. That model does not work, not here. And to go someplace where it does work, the property would cost even more. So around here, where the financials make sense, the demand for a property in the price range where I am buying and renovating, the math makes sense, okay? New construction makes no sense. The $480 price range here means a much larger, much more expensive home, which means there's a large segment of the population here that is not being served for housing. That's a broken system, yes. But if I can come in and I can provide housing in the price range that somebody needs to have, I think I'm meeting a need, and I'm doing it well, and I'm doing it with a quality product, okay? I can't do it in the $480,000 price range, but I can do it in the $180,000 price range. So that's a missing piece of that equation. Something else that I also think is critically important. This was absolutely left out of the picture in the whole new construction thing. And this is probably one of the most fundamental aspects of what I do. Capital, recovery, and basis. Here's what I mean. I will have a certain amount of capital that I will spend out of pocket on this property. When it's done, I will have approximately $130,000 out of pocket. I know that my after repair value will come in around $190,000. I will be able to refinance that property and pull out every penny of the cash that I put into that property. What that means is that cash that I put in goes back into the bank and I can recycle it. If I go to purchase a piece of new construction, I'm an investor, so I have to put 20% down. I have to wait quite some time before the market catches up and the property appreciates to the point where I can refinance and recover that 20% to put it back to use. So that capital recovery is a critical part for how I have built my portfolio. I never would have been able to buy that 12 unit if I hadn't been able to refinance the initial fourplex and then the single family house that I had turned from a 3-bedroom to a 5-bedroom. Couldn't have done it because I was able to pull my capital out of those first 2 properties. I was then able to refinance the 12-plex and further recycle the capital. You can't do that with new construction. Even if you go in with an FHA or a VA or a USDA or any of the other methods of going in with very little or no money down, which we can talk about, and those of you that just want to buy a house, you can buy a house. But even if you're going in with little or no money down, you still have to wait out the appreciation period before you can recycle your capital. It's a different model. It's very valid, but you don't get the capital recovery, okay? So that's a big one. Had mentioned that there was not risk with new construction. There is always risk. So I was pretty solid. I had about a 55% basis in all of my properties. I had nothing in a flood zone. I live in Appalachia. I had properties that I purposely bought on hills. Everything had been relatively well rehabbed, and we got a hurricane, and we were right in the middle of it. So we got hit by Hurricane Helene, and even with excellent insurance coverage, I mean, I believe in insurance. I had incredible insurance. I took so much damage. So it didn't matter how much age the properties had on them. You're not supposed to get a hurricane in the middle of the mountains, right? There's not supposed to be that level of flooding on top of a hill. I had parking lots on top of hills that just up and left. So if it had been a new construction, it still would have had a flood damage where the parking lot simply washed off the hill. Doesn't matter how old that was. So no matter what you're doing, I do want to point out that there's no such thing as a zero risk game. This is a business just like any other business. There is always going to be some level of risk. Did I increase my insurance since then? Yes. Did I learn to add additional natural disaster coverage? Yes, we all did. It's just part of knowing how to expand how you operate. It's part of the game now. And with all of the things that have happened in the insurance world in the past 10 years, it's going to be how we all operate moving forward. So I did want to pull that out as far as answering that additional question. That's a big one. Okay. Ongoing issues. That's another one. So I know that new construction is not supposed to have ongoing issues, and it might have fewer than, well, I own a house that was built with a Civil War land grant. It was a family property. I bought it and I restored it. I didn't renovate it. I restored it. And that's a Victorian manor house. That one has ongoing issues. But I knew it when I bought it, and I didn't want to renovate it because you can't go backwards into a Gothic Victorian manor house, right? You can't recapture that once you've destroyed it. I wanted that kept intact, and I always will. But I can come out of a renovation on an old house, like the little Sears kit house that I'm redoing right now. I can come out of that knowing that I have taken care of every last problem that I can find that will come up for the next 15 years. I can take that property to a complete reset. That property will be the same as newly constructed. It will have new electric, it will have a new roof, it will have a new heat pump, it will have new flooring, won't have new windows, but I'm doing that on purpose. That's a whole nother thing. So I will know that house from the inside of the walls all the way out. New vapor barrier. I will be up inside it. I will have new insulation. I will know the maintenance issues that could possibly come up on that house, and I will be insured to the teeth. So if it's possible to eliminate a maintenance issue, I will do the elimination of the maintenance issues. That's how it works. So when you go in knowing that you're doing a flip, I keep calling it a flip, my apologies. If you go in knowing that you're going to do a rehab for a long-term hold, right? And you got to remember, when I do these renovations, I like to think of it as like a 7th generation renovation. I do my portfolio knowing that my great-grandchildren and on, these renovations are to prevent an exit strategy that I will never see, okay? So I'm not just doing it so that I can fund my own retirement. I'm doing it to fund college educations for children that I will probably never meet, right? So that's my thinking long-term on these properties. So if I can prevent it, I'm doing it, and I think that every quality rehab needs to be done that way. I'm also preventing the headaches for myself as well. I don't want to deal with these things later, whether it's next year or in 20 years. So if I can prevent it for myself, even better. What it all boils down to is this. There are a million ways to invest in real estate, and new construction is one of them. It does not financially work for me where I am. It's not something that I can make work. In this location, at this point in my life, the way that I operate things. Can it be done? Yeah, there are builders all over the country that do it, and they're successful. It's not my model. And what I do works very well for me, and it has worked for me, and it's a way to open the world of real estate and investing to far more people on a realistic basis than just about any other way that I know. I had one son at age 20 who bought his first property, and it's now a very valuable piece of real estate. I had another son that bought his first at, I can't remember if he was 23 or 24. He now owns 2, and he's actively looking for the 3rd. I have a daughter that is looking for her first piece, and she's 25 years old. And another son who's 23, and he's looking for his first as well. It's not that these are wealthy people. They have average jobs. They have average incomes. It's just that we know a little bit because we have studied relentlessly. And these are the things that I hope I'm going to be able to share with everybody that might stumble across this channel, because I get so discouraged when I hear all of these studies that say that people really think they can't buy a house or they can't invest in real estate. I heard one this morning that says that 25% of Gen X thinks that they will never buy a house. I hate that. I hate that's so defeatist. Because you can, and you can. Matter of fact, if you wanted, I could walk you through how to do it at least within the next 2 years. And depending on where you are with your income and your credit, maybe within the next 6 months, right? You can't buy any house anywhere, but you can buy a house, right? You may have to adjust some expectations. But once you get the first one, then the second and third and fourth ones are way easier. Anyway, there we go. I wanted to answer a lot of the comments that were put on that video about what I felt to be some strong misconceptions about new construction. And I know that I do not have the end-all be-all information about new construction. But I do think that there are a lot of myths out there about real estate. There are a million myths out there about real estate and what you can and can't do with it. I think it is far more accessible than people realize. And I really hope that I can do some serious myth busting about it, because we need to realize that it is much easier to do than people think that it is. And if I can do it, then anybody can do it. So you can do it, and I'm going to show you how.